Hey guys, coming in to me another movie for guys, and this movie we're reviewing, I was dreading this movie, okay? I honestly was dreading this movie. I didn't want to watch it. I honestly kind of wanted to skip it altogether. I wasn't interested in this at all. I was just like, you know what, let's just not watch this movie. But I want to make my worst list, okay? I want to make my worst list, and I'm probably going to do that after this video. And I said, okay, in order for me to do that, I need to watch this movie. This movie's probably going to be in my worst list. It's probably going to be one of the worst movies of the year. The trailers looked unbearable. I did not want to see this movie at all, and that movie is The Ridiculous Six. I was not looking forward to this movie at all, and it's understandable. I mean, it's by Happy Madison, and even though it's on Netflix, it didn't look like it was that much better. It really didn't, and I was convinced this movie's gonna be on my top 10 worst list. This movie's gonna be my top 10 worst list, which will be my next video probably, guys. But to my surprise, let me just say that when I started The Ridiculous Six, I hated, like, the first, like, 15 minutes of this movie. I really did. I thought it was a horror movie. I'm like, okay, this is one of the worst movies of the year. But as the movie started to go on, I actually didn't hate this movie. I actually kind of had some fun with this movie. Now, this is not by any means a good movie. It's not, okay? It's not a good movie. There are a lot of problems it has, obviously, but it's a lot better than what I think Happy Madison has been making, and there are definitely some things I liked about this movie that I didn't expect to like. So, overall, it's not like I can recommend The Ridiculous Six, but for the most part, I did really enjoy it. But let's just get into it, because there's some things, and I know you guys will be like, why did you like this movie, da-da-da, good movies, whatever, you guys can say that, but me, personally, I just really enjoyed this movie, I'm gonna be honest with you. So let's get to the plot of The Ridiculous Six, which the plot of this movie is kind of stupid, it really is, I will say that, but it actually works for this movie. Basically, we focus on this character, Tommy Stockburn. He has been raised by Native Americans, and he's named White Knife, and he's expected to he's basically engaged to be married to this native girl, named Smoking Fox, that's her name. And one day he meets this gangster back in the day. By the way, the movie takes place in, like, the Western times, like, 18 something. He meets this gangster named Frank Stockburn, who's revealed to be his father, basically, and his father ends up kidnapped, and he has to go on a quest to find his father, and along the way, finds out that he has not two, but five brothers that he did not even know about, and together they go on a quest to go find his father, and that basically is the plot of The Ridiculous Six. And yes, the plot to this movie does sound very stupid, but there are just a lot of things that worked very well in this movie that I really didn't expect to work at all. And my biggest thing in this movie, the thing that makes the movie, I think, as as good as it is and not terrible and not making me want to hate myself, is the cast. The cast here, I actually thought was pretty fun. I really thought they were having fun with their roles, and I thought for the most part everyone did a decent job. Adam Sandler especially really seemed like he was getting into this role. I mean, he really did a good job at just kind of just embodying the typical lawman of the day. I mean, when you look at Western films, what Adam Sandler does is very close to that. Now, is he spot on? No, but I think he actually did a really good job. He actually seemed like he really did get into this role, and I really did like his character overall. He definitely is the hero of the film, and I think for the most part, he was actually quite good. I really did like his character. Terry Crews here is so funny. I actually really did like Terry Crews in this movie. Jorge Garcia was really great, Rob Schneider. Luke Wilson has this hilarious twist with his character. The one I was worried about was Taylor Lautner. I really was. I mean, from the trailers, he looked horrible in this movie. Now, is his character necessarily good? No, his character, Lil Pete, is kind of annoying at times. But because of the fun that Taylor Lautner is having with this movie, I felt like he was having fun, and that's why his performance I didn't hate, because it seemed like he was having fun with this movie, and I like that. And the thing that works so well is the chemistry between these six characters. I think they all, for the most part, actually had really good chemistry. And they all have very distinct personalities, and that's something I definitely loved, that they all had very distinct personalities and all acted very differently. None of them acted the same way. They all were very different, and they all had something about them. And while some of them were annoying at points, they all just seemed like they were having a lot of fun. This really did seem like Adam Sandler was just trying to make a fun movie with his friends, and I think he did that quite well. Nick Nolte is really good in this movie. I thought his character was obviously the typical, like, anti-hero kind of. I don't want to reveal what happens with his character really, but I thought, Nick Nolte did a very good job here. I thought he was really great. Steve Zahn was so funny in this movie. This character of Clem, he is this, basically the main villain of the film, and he supposedly is the one after, he seems to be the one after Frank Stockburn, and I love his character because he seems like he's very menacing, but at the same time, he's actually quite stupid, and I thought he did quite a great job with that. My biggest thing with this film, though, in terms of the acting, is that there are way too many characters in this movie. There really are. To me, it seemed like Adam Sandler was just trying to cash in, like, every single cameo he could, just so people would check out this movie, and it really, some of them was unnecessary. There's a really funny one with David Spade and, I like the one with David Spade and Vanilla Ice. I don't want to spoil who they play, but let's just say that Mark Twain does show up in this movie, and it was very funny. I actually kind of like that scene. Chris Kattan had some funny stuff here and there, but some of them really did feel out of place. Like, you guys might have seen Blake Shelton's in this movie. Really doesn't have much to do here, and there were quite a few characters that were like that, and I really thought that's one of the things that really detracted this movie. The directing here by Frank Coruscant, I actually thought was pretty good. I thought, honestly, the thing that I liked the most is that he tried to make this like a classic Western. I was worried they were trying to rip off the Hateful Eight. That's not what they're doing. They're basically trying to pay tribute to Westerns, and I think for the most part, he actually got that tone down pretty well. Problem is, they're not trying to take the movie seriously, so the movie really isn't that funny, and that's one of the reasons why the tone didn't exactly work here. A lot of the times, the tone feels very serious, but it's supposed to be a funny moment, so I really couldn't tell, were they trying to be funny, were they trying to be serious? There were quite a few moments in this movie like that. There weren't too many, but they're actually, like I said, it did feel like a Western, and I really do appreciate that Adam Sandler is trying to do something different. That's mainly one of the reasons I like the movie as much as I did, because he is trying to do something different. He is trying to show, oh, I'm not just going to do this kind of movie, I'm trying to do other things, and while it might not exactly be working, I'm at least going to give him credit for trying to do something a bit more out of the box, because I mean, this really does go back to, like, classic parody, and I think he definitely tried to do that, didn't exactly work, but mainly that's because of the screenplay. Let me just say, the screenplay of this movie really isn't all that great, okay? I don't want you guys to think I really did like this movie, because, truthfully, this isn't that great of a film. It really isn't. It's just the cast, the characters, didn't make me hate myself, because I thought they were having fun with the film. The screenplay here really isn't all that great. The movie really wasn't all that funny. I only laughed a few times, but there were some times where those laughs were very funny. The scenes I laughed in, I thought were funny. I will say that. They weren't just mildly funny. There were some scenes that were very, very funny. But for every funny, subtle joke, there's a fart joke, or some jokes. You guys might have seen some jokes with this mule, and they're not really funny. It just feels very juvenile, and it kind of feels like, all right, man, can we get past this? Like, it really didn't feel like it necessarily fits in this movie, and I gotta tell you, like I said, I was hating the first, like, 15 minutes of this movie, because it is nothing but Indian insults. It is just insulting Indians. And it's not funny. It's being offensive. It's not necessarily funny, and I really didn't think, like, oh, they're trying to be funny here. No, they're being offensive is what they're being. They're being offensive to Indians, and it really didn't work. Luckily, that did eventually tone down once Adam Sandler meets up with his brothers, and that's something I did like about the movies. The bond that these six guys had, like I said, I thought was actually quite strong, mainly because of the fact that they did make fun of the fact that they're all supposed to be brothers. Now, this is a very far-fetched idea that I really liked, and I thought they did a good job with that. The way they tried to pay tribute to Westerns, they actually did some good, like, making fun of some things that happened in Westerns. I thought that was pretty well done. I enjoyed that for the most part, and there were some scenes, like I said, that did make me laugh. I thought they were pretty good. The cinematography here is great, honestly. I thought the cinematography was one of the best things about this movie. I really, at times, did feel like I was watching a classic Western, and that's something that the movie did very, very well. Even though it's trying to parody it, it very much felt like something in the vein of, like, Mel Brooks or Monty Python. There were times when it definitely did that, especially the baseball scene that everyone's really been talking about. It's a very funny scene where basically they invent baseball. It's really funny. I loved seeing that, and it's probably one of my favorite scenes in the film. But yeah, I thought the cinematography was really good to this movie. It didn't, and I think Adam Sandler actually did care about this movie. Like, it did feel like everyone that was working in this movie They cared. They did care about what they were doing, and they wanted to make a good film. And did they make a good film? No. But did they make a film that was not terrible? Yes, that's what they did. The cinematography here looks very good. I like the costume designs, and they did a good job with the cinematography. Definitely, that was something I really appreciated. And surprisingly, this movie has some really great action scenes. Honestly, I was really getting into it when the movie was getting intense. I was getting into it. There's some really funny action scenes as well. Some of the plans they came up with, I thought were pretty funny. There's one scene in particular with Luke Wilson where they're trying to, let's just say, get away from someone, and actually, no, it was Rob Schneider. They're trying to get away from someone, and Rob Schneider had the funniest line in this entire film. Okay, if you guys have seen the scene, you know what I'm talking about. There was not any scene that made me laugh any harder than that scene did. That scene was fucking hilarious, and I love that. It was great stuff. It was very simple. That's something I liked, is that some of the humor in this film wasn't all juvenile. Some of it was kind of creative, and I thought they did a good job with that. It didn't just feel like Adam Sandler just very quickly wrote the script. Half of it did, but the other half I thought was pretty good. The movie is very, very long and unnecessarily, honestly, very unnecessarily long. I don't know why Adam Sandler decided to make this movie like 2 hours. I don't understand that. Now, it didn't feel long in the sense that, oh, I was bored, but I definitely felt the length. Like, when the movie was going on, like, okay, can we wrap this up, please? Like, some scenes just went on way too long. There's a scene, like I said, the David Spade cameo. It goes on for like 10 minutes, and I'm like, okay, can we just wrap this up here? Because this is really starting to drag on, and that was one of my biggest things with this movie, is that for every scene that's funny, the scenes that are funny, they start to drag on, and they really started to feel overlong, and that really was one of the things I think really did bring this movie down, and one of the things that really didn't make this that great of a film. Also, there's a twist towards the end of this film that I thought was pretty unnecessary, I do have to say that. The ending of this film, I thought was way too neat, way too neat. They wrapped things up in this little bow, and it really didn't work for this movie. I really felt this movie could have been a bit more surprising with the ending, and I was kind of like, well, no shit, that's how the movie ended. The third half of this movie really did bring things down, because you think something's gonna happen, and then plot twist, something else is happening, and it really didn't work for this movie, and that's one of the things that really didn't work at all. But like I said, there actually were some intense scenes, and I did actually kind of get into it at points, definitely. It's not a great film by any means. It's not even that good of a film. It's just that a lot of things in here that are good are really, really good, and I definitely feel Adam Sandler, if he tries on these movies like he's trying with this film, I think he's gonna do an okay job, definitely. I think he definitely is trying to get better. I'm getting that sense that Adam Sandler is trying to do better. Like, he's trying to make better films. And this movie does have things that makes it stand out from other films. Just something about it just stands out. It's not necessarily a good film. There's just things about it in terms of jokes and in terms of characters that really makes it something a lot better than, say, Pixels. Yes, I did find this to be a better movie than Pixels. I just didn't really like this movie that much. I will definitely say that. It's just the cast of characters, they work so well together, and some of the scenes were actually a lot of fun that I actually enjoyed it a little, more than I thought it was going to. That's mainly why I'm coming across as positive, because remember, guys, I thought I was going to fucking hate this film. I thought this movie was going to be the worst movie of the year, and it really wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. It definitely is not as bad as what's going to be on my worst list, which is coming up soon. But overall, guys, if I had to rate The Ridiculous Six, I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5 or a C. It's not a good film by any means. I just had a lot of fun with it. I really did. I mean, I'm sorry if I'm coming across as positive, and I shouldn't be positive about it, but I'm not gonna lie. There were a lot of things I really did enjoy about it, and I really think if Adam Sandler wants to make better films, this is definitely a lot of things. This movie is a good direction to go in. The characters are good directions to go in, what the characters are. A lot of the humor that I laughed at, that's a good direction to go in. But just cut back on the fart jokes and cut back on the juvenile humor, and I think I could enjoy his movies a little bit more than I am. But overall, guys, let me know what you guys saw this movie, you have seen it, and if you guys hate this movie, I'm sorry. I didn't hate it. I really wanted to hate it, but I didn't hate it, and I will see you guys next year, which will be for my worst of the year list. Definitely look forward to that. I would make my best of the year list, but I just have a lot more films to watch. That's why I'm doing my worst list first, so that way I can get that out of the way and then focus on the good films, and I will see you guys for my next video. Okay, bye.